So guys, do you remember a few months ago, I actually said every single game comes down to whose gameplay is more natural. That's who will actually win the set. What that means is that natural gameplay is the art of doing something. It's the art of action. So when something's more natural, it means that you can do it better, or you're more likely to do it, or you are doing it. That's what natural means. It means it's happening. So when you can naturalize gameplay, or you can make gameplay more likely to happen, as in you have more control over your gameplay, you're gonna win. And I'm gonna show you the difference between somebody whose gameplay is very natural, like Armada, and another good player whose gameplay is not as natural. I'm going to show you the actual difference in gameplay and in results that comes out. Hey guys, so I want to show you this game between Armada and Leffen, and Armada actually won this tournament, but I wanted to show you something very interesting that he did that shows how he's a much better player than the vast majority of players that did not win this tournament. So he's playing versus Leffen right now, and he's actually down 2 stocks. And what actually happens is that he turns this around, but I want to show you something very specific that he did that's interesting. So Armada cleaned up the first stock, which I don't think is unreasonable, and then he does get a pretty crazy second stock here with that double shine. So it's not like game changing. I think that's it happens pretty frequently, so I don't think anyone's surprised, but he gets this third stock, and this is pretty incredible how he did this.
What Armada did right there was genius.
Oh, wait a minute, Armada! Yo!
Soft tap, reset shot!
Okay, so that sequence was incredible, but notice he actually did not do anything there, and if you watch that much slower, yeah, he actually was predicting Leffen to shorten there. He intentionally did not roll early anything. He was predicting and expecting the shorten. Once he didn't see the shorten, he jumped on stage, and you actually see him win this game off that same call he made. And how he made it was game changing, because when he does this right here, it was complete composure. So that was intense, because he actually predicted the shorten both times, and he had the mental composure to do that. Now that's a big deal, because he actually went with this call. He made a call in a tight situation. He went with and he truly executed the call, and he was wrong the first time, right? And so the second time he went with the same call. It's a 50-50, right? This is a true 50-50 situation. But the second time he went with the call as well, and he won the call, and the match just ended. You might be thinking, like, why is this a big deal? Well, watch this match versus Absent Page and Rocky. And Absent Page is he's been hot lately, so people have been really excited about Absent Page. And Rocky I haven't seen play in a very long time, so Rocky's down a whole stock in this set. But actually, as this set goes, he takes 2 stocks with taking almost no damage.
Taking a lead, it just, I don't know, man.
And hey, he's showing he's ready to get those cheesy kills with shine at low percent, but he's also showing I can also combo and control your stock and finish you at 120.
Yep, rising back here, beautiful.
Good
Down here,
away.
nice.
So that sequence right there was really well executed and pretty good, and it made the set even, because he was actually down a stock, but he actually does another really good sequence, and then he's actually up a stock.
Well, lost him an opportunity, because now we're more or less back to neutral. Punish is in Rocky's favor.
Force hill, yeah, safe.
We got tech on deck. Tech after tech.
Absent Page got those techs.
Okay, so after an interesting exchange, Rocky kills him for a second stock. So Rocky, it seems like he's poised to at least be ahead, potentially take this game, which would put him further at the tournament, and it would actually be a pretty good upset.
Let's see it. Quick open, call out on the fall down with the shine.
Oh, that's gonna be that's it. That's just it. Oh,
okay, what you just saw right there is one of the most common and unfortunate things that can happen in a set, and it's very unfortunate and it's very common, but this is a pretty high level game, and these are pretty good players. Why would Rocky do that? Why in the hell would he do that? It makes absolutely no sense. So he gets this like perfect sequence, and then this genius S smash. But yeah, let's watch this again in slow-mo. So he gets this like crazy good S smash, jumps on the ledge. How far back Absent Page up B's? There's no way he can recover. Like he cannot make it to the stage no matter what. If you just press R, Rocky wins the set. But he actually, for some reason, jumps off. He goes for a really bad dare, misses the dare, and then he actually loses this set because of that mistake. So yeah, if we watch the rest of the set, he basically never gets back up, and he has a huge advantage, or he had a huge advantage, but Yeah, right here, Fox gets the game. And notice that Fox actually rolled up on the stage when he should have. Yeah, Rocky straight up lost the set because very dumb air. But my point is that's extremely common. It happens all the time, and when you see better players like Armada intentionally don't do stuff like that, and it's not just intentionally avoid stuff like that, have the actual discipline to carefully call out a shorten 2 times in a row, that's what makes the difference between very good players and much lower level players. What is the real thing Rocky needs to do to improve? It's actually work on stuff like that, improving gameplay, getting cleaner gameplay, smarter gameplay, more gameplay that's you're in control of. So the big takeaway from this, and the reason this is really important, is because these are the little things that determine who wins and who loses, and that's what determines your skill level. And no matter how much you practice tech, no matter how much you hang out with better players, or you watch videos, or you analyze videos, truly, no matter how much you do that, your gameplay is not necessarily going to become more natural. You're not necessarily going to become a better player. But if you think a little bit about what's actually important in the game, and then you focus and you practice specifically what's important, you can radically improve your gameplay in a very short period of time. Maybe it might take a few years, but you're gonna see a huge and a consistent and a steady improvement over those 2 years. And I'm not talking about going from a top 500 player to a top 100 player in 2 years in Melee. I'm talking about going from relative obscurity to a top 10 player in Melee over a period of 2 years. That's an actual thing that can happen. Imagine this, every top player did that, or they did something very similar to that, so that's completely a reasonable thing. It's because those players actually put themselves out there, and they thought about the game a lot, and they thought about why they actually lost, and they figured out specifically what is relevant and what is valuable in the game, and it oftentimes challenged what they previously thought was valuable, and then they changed their playstyle, and they changed their fundamental beliefs behind what was valuable and what was relevant, and then they actually started practicing and doing different things, and over a very long period of time they got remarkably better because they were doing what's right. So again, in this example, Rocky has been practicing and he's been thinking about the wrong things for the past several years, possibly his whole Melee career, and he made a very important mistake. On the other hand, Armada has been practicing the right things, and he actually won this set specifically on this call out, and then won the whole tournament, and guess what? His gameplay is very natural. It's things like this that make players lose, and the truth is, I don't think Rocky would have won this tournament, but when you win every set because your gameplay is very natural, because suddenly doesn't matter, you know, this perceived skill gap doesn't really exist, and suddenly you can beat players better than you. You can take out every player is better than you, and it's like, oh, I thought SFAT was pretty good. Oh, I thought, you know, this random Mars or S2J, they were pretty good. But you go on the stage with them and you're really juiced up, you got high adrenaline. Suddenly those perceptions kind of go out the window. Suddenly it comes down to whose gameplay is more natural, and when you practice every day, naturalize your gameplay, you start to win more. That's what it means to be an alpha gamer. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel right now, and you're gonna be an alpha gamer.